Coming up next on All About Android, we've got a lot of fun in store for you. We discuss the dates for Google I/O, something called nearby sharing, which is basically Android's upcoming AirDrop clone, all the dirt on the Galaxy Z Flip, and why it might mean that the Motorola Razr doesn't stand a chance. I don't know. Ron, I think, feels differently. Byte, a.k.a. Vine 2.0, your emails, and a whole lot more next on All About Android. All About Android is brought to you from LastPass Studios. You're focused on security, but are your employees? LastPass can ensure that they are by making access and authentication seamless. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Hiring isn't easy, but there is one place you can go where hiring is simple and smart. That place is ZipRecruiter, where growing businesses connect to qualified candidates. Try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/Android. And by Privacy.com. Privacy lets you make purchases online using virtual cards instead of real ones, protecting your identity and bank information on the internet. New customers get $5 to spend on their first purchase. Go to privacy.com/Android to sign up now. Hello and welcome to All About Android, episode 457, recorded on Tuesday, January 28th, 2020, your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards. Hey!
Happy birthday, Mateo. G, and G-O-A-T. What does that stand for?
You know how he always says G and G.
Oh,
Team
goat.
GG and G.
But you put the periods in between the G-O-A and T of goat, so it kind of threw me off a little bit.
Greatest of all time.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, well, you know.
Happy birthday, Mateo.
Yeah, happy birthday. Oh,
hi, I'm Flo.
Okay. We probably should have gone in a different order.
Yeah.
This is all Victor's doing, by the way.
Happy birthday, Mateo.
Mateo's Lady Candace made him a raspberry chocolate cake from scratch, and it looked delicious from what I saw.
That's
social media.
Delicious. Raspberry chocolate cake. We should all
fresh
get
raspberries intertwined in the middle there.
Man,
so.
that sounds delicious.
Yeah. Let's talk about Android.
No, let's talk about Mateo.
Desserts.
I'm actually okay.
Desserts or Android?
Cake. There you go.
Mateo, by the way, will be on soon, so you don't have to wait very much longer to get your goat.
He's coming for the arrival of my child. Like, this is all perfectly planned. So
that kind of sounds menacing. He's coming for the arrival of your child. Like, what is he about to do? We love you, Mateo. Happy birthday. And by the way, right before we came in here for the show, I saw that there's some breaking news. Why don't we fire it?
Sorry, I don't have the breaking news by itself.
So I'm sorry. Wait a minute here. You spend all that time for Mateo goat stuff, and you don't have the breaking news bumper loaded.
We don't have the
I had the other breaking news, but it's like,
we can't. Yeah. I know about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Victor, I was just gonna say, Victor needs to do a dramatic music and say breaking news.
Okay, Victor, go. There we go.
I spent all my time preparing for Mateo's birthday that I forgot about breaking Android news, but here's Android news.
That works.
Breaking
all right.
News.
All right.
News.
We'll give you that. All right. So the breaking news just before showtime, and I'll go ahead and do an audible deep sigh because you know what I'm about to say already, right? Google is making a messaging app.
I thought it was a joke, to be honest.
Is this news? Are you sure you're not just like making something up?
Yeah, the information says that Google is creating a messaging app to unify its business and G Suite apps. That's Gmail.
The information, the publication, by the way, not the general information.
Right. The information, capital T, capital I. Gmail, Drive, Hangouts Meet, thank you, audience, and Hangouts Chat, all unified into some sort of unified chat app that Google.
Okay, so
they
hang
just
on.
can't stop making chat apps. They just have to do it.
I understand that the Google and messaging thing is a punchline, and I get that.
Yeah.
But this is actually unifying all the workplace tools into a unified messaging app for the Google Suite. Because, and taking, there's a chat inside Gmail, there's a chat inside Drive, there's Hangouts, all stuff like that. They're consolidating that and making it into one unified thing for the G Suite. That's actually a smart move.
Totally.
Yep.
I agree. But you're right. It is also a punchline in and of itself. And anytime we talk about a new messaging app, we have to rib Google a little bit because, my God, they make a lot of those.
Well, because I'm sick and tired of getting videos from my friends on iPhones and having it be so supremely compressed. I can't even tell that that's your dog fetching. It just looks like 3 squares going after something.
Right. Well, that's Apple being hostile.
I
to
know,
but that's and that's the limitation of the MMS protocol too. So, but
all sorts of problems. But anyways, I do agree though, like between their different products, if you have chat in one place, like it would be nice to have one place to check for chat across all of the things. I'll just, wait and
honestly,
see how they actually implement it. And
honestly, Slack is eating their lunch in terms of, and chat, and even Microsoft to a certain degree, Microsoft Teams.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And how many organizations are on the G Suite because everyone is using Google Apps and has Gmail and uses Docs and all that sort of stuff. And then they slide over to Slack to have workplace chat. And, to the point where Slack has, dedicated staff at the Google G Suite integrations, right? And so it seems like the thing Google's missing is a unified workplace chat platform and they probably want to this. Honestly, this is a shot across the bow against Slack, if anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They really want to become a player in the enterprise, and this is like another good way to do that. I mean, everybody wants to be a player there, right? Everybody
I think they're established. I think they are a player in the enterprise. But when it comes to the really lucrative, 1,000+ employee enterprise, that gets a little trickier. They've got thousands of startups with 5 to 20 people using it. But how do you get into the Genentechs of the world and the Raytheons and move them away from Office 365 and all that sort of stuff? So this is definitely a strategic move.
Indeed. So that was the quick breaking news. Anyways, the top of the news block was going to be Google I/O because we now have the dates for that. It's happening once again, May 12th through 14th, Shoreline Amphitheater as per usual.
Not during my birthday and Ron's birthday.
They gave us our birthday back. And Flo, is it could be baby's first Google I/O?
Yes. I've already actually set up childcare.
Nice.
You're not going to bring baby in a Bjorn to Google I/O?
Oh, you know what? I actually did see Dad last year had a baby and a Bjorn in the press area, and who knows? Maybe that last day, baby's first
the casual day when things have calmed down a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get the baby in the experiments tent to kind of test out some of the AI touch.
Yeah, baby bug testing.
Exactly.
The date, of course, as usual, was revealed on a cryptic kind of puzzle sort of thing. This time it was a page called A Collaboration of the Cosmos. And I anytime I ever went to the page to like try and activate it, it gave me an error message. So it didn't work for me. Maybe that's because it was already solved. I don't know. But it's like a bunch of animated symbols on a page. And I don't know how people did it, but they cracked the code and were able to eliminate a bunch of those symbols and spell out the date, I believe, May 12th through 14th. So, I don't know. Google engineers too smart for their own good. Likely to see the Pixel 4a at Google I/O, aside from all the developer talks and everything, which is kind of the point. But last year they started all the hardware stuff again, it seems. And so everybody's expecting the 4a to kind of make its appearance at Google I/O. Probably whatever, we will be a couple of betas into Android 11, the beta releases. So, I'm sure we'll find out new features that aren't already known when we get the first beta. usual stuff, and possibly new Pixel Buds. The Pixel Buds that were shown off and made by Google last year have a this year release date, but we don't know when. And a lot of people are wondering if we're going to see that hardware at Google I/O. So,
I mean,
there you go.
It passed. It passed the Bluetooth SIG.
Yeah. So
sign off signature.
So it's on its way in some way, shape, or form.
It's on its way.
Yeah, it's moving on up.
The FCC gave it a blessing of some sort.
Yes, christened it, and it's ready for Google I/O. So, so yay! So I will definitely be at Google I/O. Well, at least again, we're in this weird moment where like we think we're going, but we don't actually know until we know. Flo, you're going to try and go, or you've already secured?
I mean, I have every intention of going.
Cool. And then Ron, are you going to party with us?
TBD, probably unlikely.
All right.
I'm still going to be at the Moscone Center, banging my fist on the window. Come back.
Open.
No.
All right. That's Google I/O. Flo, you got the next one.
Well, now we're going to talk about Microsoft, which has no Google. Actually, there is Google here. So Microsoft is ready for you to start making apps for its Duo tablet, that 2-screen tablet that we saw a render of a little bit while back. So the company announced the release of its preview SDK for the Surface Duo, which is its Android-based tablet. And the SDK includes native Java APIs supporting dual screen development. Also has in it an Android emulator with the Surface Duo image preview. So basically it's integrated into Android Studio for testing Android apps. So it's not going to be a completely foreign environment for anybody who's going in who has Android development background. Some of the features of the SDA include the user has the choice to span an app across both screens. The apps and settings menus, they open full screen by default. Pinned apps flow from one side to the other based on what is happening. And now it's on developers to get their apps ready for the Duo. So we actually have a quick look at it, the new UI, thanks to Jonas Dainert, I believe is how you say his last name, also known as Phone Designer on Twitter. It's kind of a great way. Let's see. It was in that second little link in the doc. And it's kind of a great way to get a little look at some of the UI schematics, what it's going to look like when you're moving from window to window, panning apps. And I don't know, I'm excited for the Duo, and I'm honestly thinking I'm putting money away for this thing.
Really?
I know it's not coming out until holiday 2020.
Yeah, it's going to be a little while.
I will say
cool.
The use of the term Duo is very confusing to me, because every time I see coverage of this, I think it's the Google Duo.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the story is there. So
yeah,
that's challenging.
Very different hardware versus software, really.
Yeah.
But
neat.
I
just want to be able to read a book, like an ebook, and have it feel like a book. Right now I'm reading books on reading parenting books on a large 9.7-inch Tab S3, kind of an old one, and I'm reading it in landscape mode. And so you have like two sides, you have two paragraphs kind of running parallel to each other, and it just doesn't feel. It's very distracting. And I like the idea of having this Duo with like the actual hinges in it, some actual real like portability. Maybe I can flip it backwards and have it turn into something. I don't know. I just like the look of this thing. I hope developers develop for it. I hope it's not just a fun little experiment from Microsoft. I hope that it gets some people excited to do this.
I like the form factor, and I like the approach, and I think some of the interface stuff is going to be really interesting to see how people use it and what the practical. And I'm sure they've done a lot of user testing around and all that sort of stuff, but in the hands of like uncontrolled user use, like non-testing environment. I think it's neat. I will be curious to hear, Flo, your experience when you get it. I don't think I'm going to save money for it, but that's because I'm too busy saving up for the Motorola Razr. So
which we will talk about in a bit.
I was gonna say that's a nice.
That's a tease, as they say.
I like it. I like it. Well, I'll be curious. I'll be curious to talk with you in a little bit about the Motorola Razr and why that and not the Galaxy Z Flip. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Sure.
But before that, we've got more news.
For that, we're as guilty of it as anybody. But in fact, Flo did it earlier in the show. We a lot of comparisons between Android and iOS in the world. A lot of iPhones can do this, Apple can do that, Google can do that, whatever. But one thing that's been rumored about that we've been hearing a lot has been Google's answer to AirDrop, which is the kind of wireless file transfer between devices, and it looks like Google's AirDrop functionality or application is going to be called Nearby Sharing. And recently, an XDA recognized developer figured out how to activate it. So they posted a preview of the feature and how it works over on XDA. It's baked into Google Play services, so it should work on a number of devices at launch, not just Pixel devices, which is great.
Yeah, that's big.
And honestly, it gives it real AirDrop-like ubiquity and power. It uses Wi-Fi to send files between devices that are within 1 foot of each other. And it also has stuff in there to prevent random image bombing, because I know that's something that a lot of people with iOS devices like to do in airports and just drop photos in unsuspecting users' devices, which is kind of funny. But the video that those who are watching the video of this episode can see the demo that was posted on XDA of it working between 2 Google devices, and it's pretty cool. You can, if you got a file and you're within a foot of somebody, you can just go, oh, here you go, here's the file, and beam it over to them via Wi-Fi, which is pretty amazing. So
yeah, I think, Victor, if you skip like to a third through, you'll start to kind of see a little bit of the UI. That's taking a look at the settings and everything. But it really, there's a lot of similarities to what we've already seen before with Beam. I think I was going
to say there've been apps that do this, but having it baked in the OS is huge.
Yeah, I mean that's the big difference in my opinion, is if it's in Google Play services, then that really essentially means that any Android app launching with Google Suites and Google Play services is going to have this with the update, because it's part of Google Play services. That just means even more devices, and not just going to be like new devices running the latest version of Android. And that makes it a tool that that's part of the reason why AirDrop is so damn useful, because every iPhone can do this and it's really easy to do. So I think this is a really big deal. Will I use it the other question, though, the flip side is like, will I find myself using this very often? And I don't know that I necessarily will. Maybe that because I've tried these apps and I've used these apps before, and I mean, they maybe come in handy every once in a blue moon, but I don't use them very often. But I'm sure.
What about sharing pictures?
I mean, when I share pictures, it might be the better way. But when I share pictures right now, I just go into Photos and do the share on the photos that I have selected. It creates a shareable album, and I just copy the album to the person, the link to the album. And that works great for me. It's really easy. Just link
one-off photo, though.
Right, totally. I mean, different use case. Also have to be like right there. Like, how many times am I with someone and I'm like, oh, here, let me send you this photo. Don't go anywhere.
Right. Here's the bummer, though. Yeah. This is not. It's still not cross-platform.
Well, no, it's not going to be cross-platform because of Apple.
No, I know.
I'm just speaking. To have something with ubiquity requires the 2 OSs to talk to one another. And
they aren't going to do that, that's
not going to happen,
which is lame.
I know. I'm just thinking it doesn't solve the one problem I have, which is like, I just want one picture off of your phone.
Well, I mean, again, because and now we're going to get me ranting on the Star Trek future, and my socialist views on technology platforms, that everybody should be common and interface with one another and work directly. But the thing is, back to the 80s when you had a game on an Apple IIe and you want to play it on IBM, you couldn't, and so it's like this is the challenge of a capitalist-based technology until we kind of recognize that there's more power in unity than what else can we do?
What can we do? We can read an email is what we can do.
Yep.
That's all we can do right now is read an email. AAA@twit.tv. And you can send an email like William did. William said, several times on AAA, various members of your show or guests have expressed some reluctance about putting buds in your ear, like I seem to have in my ear right now, or at least not deeply in your ears. Curious what y'all think about open ear directed audio solutions, i.e. not bone conduction. Oddly enough, the first place I heard about such technology was in Amazon's Echo Frames, which he says I have next to no interest in, but the design of glasses that direct audio into our ears while leaving our ears completely open intrigued me. I later learned the Oculus Quest does something similar with positional audio. Actually, in my words, the Oculus Quest has basically some speakers that are right outside of your ears. So it's neat, but yeah, you're not putting anything in your ears. It actually works really well.
What's the difference between open ear directed audio solutions and speakers?
Well, that's a good question. And I think maybe he gets there here. Finally, I saw a Facebook ad for a Kickstarter for what may hopefully be the perfect incarnation of this for me. Gamer glasses. They even call it NFSS for near field surround sound. So we'll be curious to hear how well that works.
Those are cute.
You don't. I know. Yeah, they're a sight to behold. You don't get noise isolation, obviously, but I think I'd actually prefer to still have a chance to hear if someone is approaching and asking me a question rather than get me startled. Especially when raising a 2-year-old, is generally better to not be isolated on what might go on around me. I think that's kind of what it is. It's kind of like speakers that are
directed, that are more strategically pointed. Yeah.
And it's more of an environmental sound instead of isolated sound.
I had a pair. I went back when Macworld was a conference. I attended, and some company was making these over-the-ear headphones that kind of just sent sound into your ear, right? And the idea for them was something that you could wear when you're doing a high-impact sport. So like snowboarding, skiing, maybe something where you have to wear a helmet over your ears. So the idea is not to have like that enclosed AirPod effect, but again, like we were just talking about, to be able to hear what's going on around you while also having like ambient music play.
Totally. Yeah, and I can say from my own experience, because actually I was just snowboarding last weekend, there's a lot of people that will mount like a stereo to their backpack so that it's playing out in the open.
Like a motorcyclist?
What's that? What's that?
Like when a motorcycle comes by and they have like the loud stereo.
Yeah. You know. Yeah, it's like that. And what they're choosing to not do in that case is put the earbuds in. You know, maybe they're going with friends or whatever, and so it kind of, you know, lets them hear it too. But I've gone with the isolated ear, and while it's really immersive, right? Like, you know, you're just kind of doing your thing and all you hear is the music. It really does shut you off from the world, and it can be kind of dangerous. You might not hear that person coming from behind you. I had a moment where I was standing in line and I didn't know that a guy was yelling at me to like go forward, and I was just listening to my music. And then I felt embarrassed about that. So you get isolated and you don't realize what's happening around you. So solutions like this, I actually really think are good in certain circumstances. Jogging at night, you know, there are a lot of people that don't feel safe putting in earbuds. But if you
hiking during the day, when I was hiking, I share a trail with mountain bikers, and you know, it's a narrow trail. I want to make sure that neither of us are on the edge. So I have to like be careful, make sure I always have ambient sound on my headphones, and you know.
Yes, indeed.
There's a market for these things. Somebody just needs to make them really stylish.
There was a pair of Sony wireless earphones. They weren't buds, but they were. God, I wish I could. Now that I'm thinking about them, I won't be able to find them. The kind that
clip behind your ear,
and they go around. But yeah, they aren't. They don't go in your ear. But they kind of play through a speaker kind of right in front of your ear. And I reviewed those, and they sounded pretty good for what they were. And they let in a lot of the environment and everything, which is kind of the point. Great for like riding your bike and that sort of thing. But they look a little weird. Anywho, thanks for writing, William. Good discussion at AAA@twit.tv for anyone else who wants to write in. We love getting your feedback. All right, Ron, You're up.
Yes, we want to thank our first sponsor, ZipRecruiter, for sponsoring this episode, this 457th episode of All About Android. And we love ZipRecruiter because those of us who work in business and need to hire people know that hiring can actually be a really slow process. It can get really frustrating. I've been there. It's no fun. In fact, Dylan Miskowitz of Cafe Altura, the COO there, needed to hire a director of coffee for his organic coffee company, but he was having a lot of trouble finding qualified applicants. He switched to ZipRecruiter, and ZipRecruiter's technology helps him find people with the right experience and invites them to apply to the job. This could be for any of us. If you've got a job listing, they will find the right people and invite them to apply for it. Dylan went ahead and posted that job on ZipRecruiter and was so impressed by how quickly he had qualified candidates apply. Within just a few days, he found a new director of coffee, and Cafe Altura continued to grow and dominate in the coffee world. With results like that, it's no wonder that 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And yeah, let me tell you, over the years, I've hired, I mean, honestly, I lost count of the number of people I've hired. And, honestly, the worst part of it is posting that job and hoping the right person finds it. So many times you just cross your fingers and the kind of person you need. You need a rock star in a role. They need to be able to do X, Y, and Z, and you can lay it all out. I could draw a picture of the person I need, but you just hope that they will stumble upon finding it. ZipRecruiter turns it around and finds the right people, invites them to invite them to apply to your job, because your job is what they want. So ZipRecruiter's figured it out. They're awesome. So see why ZipRecruiter is effective for businesses of all sizes. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Android. That's ZipRecruiter, ZipRecruiter.com/ANDROID. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Android. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Get on board. Thanks, ZipRecruiter, for sponsoring this episode and making hiring easy.
That's right. Thank you, ZipRecruiter. Oh, you keep recruiting zippily. Okay, maybe that last part isn't like a slogan. You don't have to take that from me. But if you'd like,
it's a good idea. It's a good idea. Yeah.
Keep recruiting zippily. Okay, it's time for some hardware. Oh, yeah. Flo got a fun one.
This is fun. So y'all are going to flip for the Galaxy Z Flip press renders.
I see what you
which
did there.
have officially leaked. So from what we see so far, the Galaxy Z Flip features 6.7-inch main display at a 22:9 aspect ratio. So that's a new number coming in. Ultra-thin glass display with improved durability over the Galaxy Fold plastic display. So, hopefully this one will not be recalled and cause all sorts of headlines to sprout up in the midst of launch.
One can
It has a second 1.06-inch Super AMOLED outer display, a small one for time and notifications, kind of like the old phones of the past, the old flip phones. 2 12-megapixel cameras, a Snapdragon 855 Plus on the inside, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of onboard storage, a 3,300 milliamp battery, and it is expected to be revealed alongside the Galaxy S20 at Samsung's February 11th event. If this gets you excited, raise your hand.
I'm interested.
I'm always excited.
I'm interested.
I think it
up.
looks.
I'm into.
Yeah. I mean, it looks pretty.
This is what
it
I'm
looks
into.
pretty slick. It's got the Samsung kind of design from the phones. Maybe a little chunky around the. It's hard to criticize.
It's a render.
Come up with
Yeah.
criticisms on this because there aren't that many foldable phones out there that even exist. But kind of like the bezels look a little. I don't know. Maybe a little dated. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see when we see it in person. But.
Well, you can imagine they've been working on this for a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
So the bezels are probably going to be a little dated. Maybe the design is going to be a tiny bit dated because it's something that somebody drummed up a while ago when this was in style, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Looks pretty slick though, I have to say. Not bad.
I like it better than that narrow book, style of the Galaxy Fold. I think This excited us when we first heard about it because
the top down fold is interesting. The Star Trek communicator style, rather than the book open style. Which is unlike the is it the Xiaomi one, the Mi one that is like the elementary school fortune teller one.
That one opens like backwards, right?
Yeah,
it opens
that one opens backwards. Yeah.
Hey, everyone's trying their thing. I mean,
yeah, and this isn't that far away. Like this is right around the corner.
This makes sense for the phone, and then the duo style of the folding with the two screens makes sense for a tablet. I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, but you still have that. You still kind of have that seam in the middle. On the tablet size. That if you're ever watching anything, you're gonna wish that was gone. But yeah,
you want to talk about seams? Because that's a great segue.
Yeah, I want to talk about seams.
And actually, if you need a flippable phone before the Galaxy Z Flip, you're going to want to get the Motorola Razr, which is currently on track to launch on February 6th, which is 5 days ahead of the Galaxy Z Flip announcement. It was originally planned to launch on December 26, 2019, last year, but it got delayed a little. Pre-orders began on January 26th, exclusively at Verizon, Walmart, and the Motorola website. Motorola has released a number of short videos, and one of them is called, quote-unquote, Caring for Razr, and mentions that the screen is made to bend and bumps and lumps are normal, which there's no way you make that a positive marketing spin when you're talking about.
My dermatologist said the same thing to me when I asked him about my pregnancy bumps.
Bumps and lumps are normal, Flo.
And then also part of the packaging doubles as a nightstand dock and amplifier, but again, not a charger, which is just a bizarre choice. And you could have the Motorola Razr, the envy of all your friends, for just $14.99. So while Flo is saving up for the Surface Duo, I am saving up for the Motorola Razr because it is the foldable phone of my dreams. You know why?
Why?
Because now you can hang up on somebody.
But you could do that with the Z Flip too.
You could, but you could do that on February 6th, 5 days ahead of the Z Flip.
So you're banking on this for the 5 days ahead.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be more than 5 days ahead because remember, Samsung is announcing this stuff officially, not launching it. Like, you can't go to the store and buy it immediately.
That's true. I think the rumor is saying that it'll be available like within days after the announcement, though. We'll see if that comes true.
But then Ron will have his Motorola Razr all established.
He'll be like full to be old news for him.
He will have already hung up dramatically on a couple of people.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You will have hung up on me at least 5 times, Ron.
Jason, I've had it. Hang up.
I'd be like, yeah, this is just how we communicate. He hangs up on me all the time. Okay, so let's make a little comparison here. I was thinking about tweeting this out, and then I checked Twitter. This was earlier today, and Ron Amadio beat me to the punch. Galaxy Z Flip, this is Ron's tweet. $1,400, Snapdragon 855 plus, 3,300 milliamp hour battery, flat glass display. Motorola Razr, $1,499, so $99 more. Snapdragon 710, so the lower processor, 2,510 milliamp hour battery. That's a pretty significant drop in battery. Bumpy plastic display. I mean, so it's a good thing that Motorola is coming out with this phone days before, because once they're both out, it might be, I mean, Motorola is banking on the kind of the novelty aspect that people are going to feel about there being another Motorola Razr. That's really a large part of what you're paying for here by comparison.
And I'm not going to buy a Samsung. I mean, that's the thing is that, like, yes, those specs are, like it gives an edge to the Samsung device. But, like, honestly, those aren't game changers for me. Mm-hmm. Because I bet you, and I will be impressed if Samsung's display doesn't bend and have bumps and lumps as well, because how different is the technology? It's still folding, right?
It is, but these rumors keep pointing to a flat glass display, which would
the bendable glass. The bendable glass.
The bendable glass thing, which I have a hard time believing, but these rumors keep mentioning it. So
bendable glass.
Like,
crazy.
Are we really actually there? Bendable glass? There's got to be some.
I believe it's called plastic.
Not the same thing. Not the same thing. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, we will find out.
You can only bend
soon.
glass when it's heated, right? That's.
Oh, it is Samsung we're talking about. Their phones get really hot.
Oh, there you go. Synergy. That's called synergy right there.
Let's just hope it doesn't heat up a little too much. But yeah, maybe they're
also
different.
a heating pad.
Yes. Keeps you warm in the winter. Okay. I've got a different phone that's weird. Whoa, in its own way. What about an all e-ink phone? Like the Hisense A5 that we actually didn't talk about from CES. Didn't make the cut, but we're back here because it is kind of weird, kind of interesting, I suppose. 5.84 inch 1440 by 720 e-ink display. So we're kind of used to these phones that if they implement or integrate e-ink into it at all, it's like a secondary display or something along those lines. This phone is like all in on e-ink. That's all it is. Snapdragon 439 processor, 4 gigs of RAM, 32 gig storage, 13 megapixel rear-facing camera, 5 megapixel front-facing camera, and a micro SD card reader. It does have the Courage port. It does have 4,000 milliamp hour battery and Android 9 at launch. But this is all e-ink, so it's black and white, slow refresh, so you're probably not going to have a lot of fun playing games on this phone. But it kind of doesn't matter, because Aliexpress is selling it for $235. A site called GearBest is selling it for $220. So this is a low-cost phone. It's going to have limited LTE support in the U.S. It's really, I mean, obviously not really meant for the U.S. Very limited LTE support. So otherwise you'll end up on 3G, and that's going to be painful on your e-ink display.
If you've ever had your Kindle and you're like, man, I wish I could text somebody or make a phone call. That's basically what this is.
I want to put my Kindle in my pocket.
Yeah, exactly. I want to put my Kindle in my pocket and be able to text somebody in between reading.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So this is a phone for readers then.
Yes.
Book fans, you found your phone.
It promotes literacy.
Yes. The Hisense A5. Yeah, that's just more a curiosity than anything. I don't know how well that's going to sell. But hey, I mean, Flo, you're the AliExpress expert. The AliExpress expert. Does that work?
So, fun story. I've been banned from AliExpress.
What?
No.
Not by AliExpress, by my loving and caring husband, whose child I'm carrying.
Well, let's be honest. He's probably not off. Okay, so.
I really wanted to know why you were banned.
I've been staying off the website just to not be tempted because I did buy a couple of like baby things, and he was like, "Oh, this is really cute. Where'd you get it from?" And I'm like, "Got it from AliExpress." And he's like, "Okay, we are not doing that. That's not happening anymore.
No more
Stop
baby.
it."
Yeah, no more baby purchases from AliExpress. You just don't know. You just don't know. Just be on the safe side on that one. Okay, well, I'm sorry to tantalize you with an AliExpress purchase with the Hisense A5. I know it's a really compelling piece of hardware, and they sell it there. And I'm sorry I tantalized you with that.
I do like the idea. The chat room is talking about how cool it would be to have a phone that could go LCD to e-ink. And I mean, I know we kind of had that with a Yoda phone 1 and 2, just like the idea, even though that was dual sided.
Right.
But I mean, there is a market out there of people who are highly sensitive to light that I think this would really appeal to. And also, like you said, readers or just people who want it a little easier on the eyes, or to be able to even see a phone outside in the light. I'm thinking about like anybody who works a hardcore job, like construction or, snake wrangling. Like, you want to be able to see your phone out in the sun. So
all the snake wranglers,
of which we know that there are a lot of Twit listeners who are also snake wranglers. So
what people don't realize is that in the snake wrangling community, Android is actually the phone of choice. That's because iOS it doesn't align with snake wrangling. That's all.
You're absolutely right, Ron. People don't know that.
Yeah,
you're right.
If you listen to our companion podcast all about snake wrangling, we go deep on it. So You can subscribe and hit that like
I have
button.
a lot of friends with snakes, so this is a common theme in my life.
Well, you should
Flo,
recommend this
as the host of All About Snake Wrangling, that makes sense. So
Right, exactly.
I don't even need to think about a new show idea for this network. I already have one. Thank you. Flo, you got the email.
I do. I have the email.
Look at you there.
The email on the last episode, I heard that I was not on, unfortunately. I heard TK talking about the woes of cleaning out his Google Play Music device limit 3 or 4 times a year, since he is a reviewer. I too used to be a reviewer, and of course, I had the same problem. About 5 or 6 years ago, I called Google support, told them I was a phone reviewer. They asked for a few pieces of work to prove that I was a phone reviewer, and then they excluded me from the 10 device limit.
Oh, wow.
I'm no longer in that job. However, I still do not have a device limit. It's not as important now, but it was really good to be excluded from that rule. Adam Jones, aka Baldy Pal. And Adam, I completely know about this because I too have had a talk with Google support. But you know what they did for me instead is they just canceled every device that I had linked, and I just started over from scratch.
And you haven't reached that limit again?
No, because I don't use Google Play Music, so it wasn't firing up for me. I wasn't having that issue. This did remind me, though, when I read this email, it reminded me I used to have a Steam Press account. Those were the days.
Those were the days. Well, I can go ahead and raise my hand and say that, yes, this is what I have. I have this.
Oh, it's out.
Yeah,
You're going to need to call.
I feel like I mentioned it on the show before, but yeah, well, I had to call. I had to call all the time. And finally, one time I was like, this is kind of silly. Like, I need to call. I review devices all the time. Like, is there anything that can be done? It's like, oh, yeah, actually there is. And it wasn't that difficult. But you do have to prove that you actually review phones. So this isn't like a tip to anyone to get this 10 device limit removed.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's still a total pain in the butt, removing devices all the time. Like, you know, it is what it is. It's part of Google Play Music.
You won't have to worry about it because Google Play Music won't exist.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. And I think that's what what Baldy Pal means by saying it really doesn't, it's not that important now because soon it won't exist.
Don't make me think of that, please.
I'm sorry.
Someone very nice on Twitter is trying to help. Booth on Twitter tweeted at me and Jason about there's a program called Tune My Music, which will transfer playlists from service to service. But that won't work for me either because I don't really use playlists. I have some playlists on Google Play Music, but I listen to albums. Yeah. What I need is a way to transfer. This is my library.
Right. You know? Yes, to be able to look at Google Play Music and say, these are the things that I uploaded, and of everything that's left in my library, that's this stuff. Take this stuff and move it over there or whatever. Yeah. And I don't know if there's a way to do that. But that was a cool looking app. I didn't get a chance to dive into it, though.
It was cool, but it was playlist based. So I appreciate it.
And I don't really use playlists. Yeah, me too. So. All right, let's take a break, and then we're going to get into, well, the rest of the show is all apps. So that's usually how we roll around here. But first, this episode of All About Android is brought to you by Privacy.com. Privacy is super cool. You don't use the same password everywhere you go online. So why would you use the same credit card number when you shop online? With Privacy.com, you get a brand new virtual Visa or MasterCard number for every purchase that you make online. New card number for all of your purchases. It's kind of a crazy thing when you think about it, but it's easy to do. You download their browser extension from the Chrome Web Store, or of course they have Android and iOS apps. You link your virtual cards to your US checking account or debit card. And you kind of go off, and they make it super easy. If your New Year's resolution includes sticking with a budget, like so many people have that resolution, you can stay on track while shopping securely online with Privacy by taking control of your finances. So you can do things like setting a spending limit. You can control your subscriptions and recurring payments. You won't have to worry about forgetting to cancel your subscriptions. The worst thing in the world, maybe not the worst thing in the world, but it really sucks when you sign up for something, sign up for a subscription, and then you forget that you have that subscription. Then a year comes and boop, you get re-upped on it and you aren't even using that anymore and you just totally forgot. I've had that happen before. Well, you don't have to worry about that here. You can use these cards and you can deactivate them so that the re-up doesn't actually work. That card number becomes invalid and it just doesn't work. You can make sure that you're never accidentally billed twice or upgraded to another service without your consent. Use their card sharing feature, and you can easily and safely send a friend, family member, or coworker a privacy card straight from your dashboard in just a few clicks. That feature, by the way, is on desktop only for now. No copy and paste, no screenshots. Your recipient won't need a privacy account to access that shared card. It's super easy to do. You just click the share button when viewing a card, enter an email address to share it with, and privacy handles the rest for you. On their free personal plan, you can create up to 12 cards a month. Those are secure, merchant locked, and single use. They also have 2 paid versions. There's Pro and Teams. With Pro, you pay just $10 a month, and not only do you get access to everything that's included with a free personal plan, but you also get 1% cash back on all purchases and 36 cards a month. If you happen to own a small business or maybe you're in charge of a team, the Teams option is perfect for you. It's just $25 per month, and you're going to have access to everything that is included in the Pro version. Plus, you'll get a dedicated account manager, 60 cards a month, and transaction limits tailored to your business needs. Now, privacy does not sell your data. It protects your wallet online with military-grade encryption, a split key encryption with partial keys held by separate employees, and they're PCI DSS compliant, which means they're held to the same security standards as your bank. So your information is safe with privacy. So head to privacy.com/Android, and you can sign up for an account. As a special treat for our viewers, new customers will automatically get $5 to spend on their first purchase for a limited time only. Yeah, and by the way, that is actually free money there. So just go to privacy.com/Android and sign up now and check out what it's like to live this life of multiple cards. It's really a game changer. Privacy.com/Android. And we thank them for their support of All About Android. Or All About Snake Wrangling. Either way, it's this show. All right, it's time for some apps. Ron got the new social network.
It's an exciting day for apps people as we now get introduced to Flo's new favorite app.
I haven't signed up for it, so.
What will be Flo's new favorite app? For those of you who are missing Vine, RIP, Byte is now available in the Google Play Store, and it was actually created by Dom Hoffman and team, who is the co-founder of Vine. And what Byte is it is a platform that allows you to publish videos that are 6 seconds and no more than 6 seconds. It also has a ghost feature, which is basically stop motion animation, which is pretty neat. Other than that, there are no effects or filters yet. And it's out there, and those who are dying for a new platform to replace Vine and you don't want to give China all of your data with TikTok, you might want to check out Byte. That said, since it's launched, many have been talking about and written about a big bot and spam problem in the early days of the app, which is never fun. But despite that, it's been downloaded 780,000 times over its initial opening weekend. So clearly there's an audience for these short, inane videos. And yeah, so Byte, where Vine once came to its demise at the hands of Twitter, Byte will rise from the ashes like a phoenix. Flo, will you download this ever?
I'm not sure, because I have heard massive TikTok fans say that this does not compare. And I just think it's because the amount of features aren't like there yet, but I definitely saw my Twitter feed explode with excitement over this, because remember, Vine was like such a popular thing in Twitter circles when it came out, which is kind of what helped contribute to TikTok. But TikTok's a little longer. You can get a little more creative with TikTok. You have more editing options.
And you're giving the Chinese government all your information while doing that, but still.
Yeah, but kids these days, they don't care.
What I will say that it has been a long time since I saw the reaction to a new app on social media the way, I mean, the launch of Byte felt like 10 years ago when apps were exploding all over the place. It was like, oh my God, get this one.
Yeah, totally.
It definitely felt like the old days in that regard. So who knows if it will do well? I'm sure they're going to develop more, more content, like more, functionality and stuff like that. It just launched. Like they just got to get to market, right?
Well, and they have plans to bring in like a partnership program for people who want to make money on the platform. That's around the corner. I mean, one thing that we've learned by now about services like this is if you are an aspiring creator or influencer or whatever, you are waiting for moments like this. You are waiting for moments like 5 days ago when a new app like Byte launches. Because if you get in now and capitalize on the fact that you're creating content for a smaller group of people who are just looking to follow great accounts that are doing interesting stuff, you kind of ride that wave with it. And we kind of know this now because we've seen that happen with all these other social networks. So I don't know. Just saying, if you have a creative itch, like maybe scratch it with Byte and see how that goes. It could actually be something considerable. I
mean, crazier things have happened. I mean, we've seen the explosion of creators monetizing and creating careers out of Vine, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, like all these platforms come up and in this age of influencer that we live in, if a platform emerges with enough critical mass and there's a way to get in early on it, it's a gold rush kind of scenario. So totally. If you're into it, go for it, man. You only live once. So not for me, but maybe for you.
Oh, come on. You can post daily bites, right? Where you're lip syncing and bad edits.
6 seconds a day.
Yeah, exactly. How hard is 6 seconds a day?
Totally. Not hard at all. No, oh no. It's super easy. All right, so that's, I don't know how often I'm going to open that app, but who the heck knows? Anything could happen. Google Translate is going to be getting a new transcribe mode. So this is kind of cool. You maybe remember with the Pixel 4... God, I'm starting to get lost. It is Pixel 4, right? Yeah. Okay. For a second there, I was like, was it the Pixel 3? With the Pixel 4 was a recorder app that launched that basically transcribes English speaking in real time. So you like record somebody talking and it transcribes on the screen. Really cool stuff that it did it in real time. Well, now Google Translate's going to be basically implementing that into Translate so that it translates in real time in the same way. And so like you could imagine going to like a conference or going to see a speaker who's speaking a language that you aren't fluent in and just setting that up and having that be your transcription. That's pretty powerful. That's pretty awesome.
That's very cool. Yeah.
So that's coming in the future. Gotta love it when it's just in the future. We have no idea when, but someday down the line.
In the future. Speaking of Pixel 3 versus 4, just today, someone was asking for advice on what phone to get, and I actually told them to get the Pixel 3 and not the Pixel 4.
Oh, interesting. Did you have to explain to them why?
Yeah, no, I explained the some of the complaints about the Pixel 4 and basically they moving from Samsung to a new phone and camera is really important. And I was like, hey, and I showed some of the pictures my sister takes with her Pixel 3 of my kids. And I was like, you can't beat this camera. And, the Pixel 4 doesn't really improve on it that much. Mm-hmm. And you don't have the battery life problems and some of the other issues with the people reporting with the Pixel 4. The Pixel 4 is just a dang good phone. So... Pixel 3, I'm sorry. Pixel 3 is a dang good phone.
And I mean, I've lived with the Pixel 4 now since it came out, so I've kind of burned through the initial. I mean, it's a phone, and it's a phone that I use regularly, and that I rely on as much as I would if I had the Pixel 3 XL, and it doesn't really let me down. I think where it falls short is like some of its really big features just really are not that kind of useful, right, on a daily basis. The Soli radar thing for me is a joke. Like it's just like totally unnecessary.
Right, exactly.
But hey, maybe everybody has a different view on that.
I'm still on the 3. I still haven't switched over.
You still haven't. You've chosen. you're gonna skip the 4 and go right to the 5.
Yeah, I keep thinking, am I going to do it? Am I going to jump? Am I going to take on a new phone? But it's kind of like, it's like my sofas. I mean, they're comfortable. They're broken in.
Yeah.
I really
starting from square one again just doesn't always sound that fun.
You know, and this is unlike me. You all know I've followed phones like fads.
Yeah.
You love the new one.
Totally. All right, Flo, you got the last one.
Yeah, well, speaking of fads, now this is something that I could really see explode. I mean, when you think about like tourism, I'm sure you have a friend somewhere in your life who has gone to a specific place. You have me. I go to LA just to scope out 90210 locations, right? Iceland, they made a lot of money just based off of Game of Thrones fans going over there. Well, Niantic might be onto something with getting gamers to go places just based on the games that they're playing. So we all know that Niantic, they do Pokemon Go, Harry Potter, Wizards Unite, and Ingress. Well, they have event locations for its big game. And in 2019, last year, it brought in nearly $250 million in tourism revenue to these locations where these events were taking place. They had 77 live events in 32 countries, included 2.7 million people from 60 different countries that participated. So people got on a plane, they went to these places to go and meet other folks to play these location-based games with. And in totality, the folks walked over 6.5 million kilometers, which I feel like we should do the conversion for our American audience. But you know what?
Oh.
We're not going to do that.
Well, I didn't think about that. That's a good question here. What is 6.5 million kilometers in miles? Hold on. 4,038,912 and 3/4 miles. Oh, sorry. There we go. I had
That's a lot of miles.
It's a lot of miles. That's a long number. Sorry about
That's a lot of airline points.
Sorry about firing off all your Google Homes. Everybody in chat's like, mine's answering it too. Well, hey, really now you know something.
It was for a good cause.
Yeah, totally. We all know.
I do like this as a nerd, as a person who takes trips solely based off of my fandom of things. I really do like this idea of, I don't know, it's a fun way to see the world and to meet people, because meeting people can be kind of awkward. And when you just go, like when you're young and you're traveling, you can go like join up a group and, you join a tourism group and you're like, hi, random person from another, like, oh, you're 20, I'm 20. Oh, let's be 20. But when you're like in your 30s and 40s, it gets a little harder to do that.
Hi, I'm 20, you're 20. Let's be 20 together.
Well, come on, guys.
I just thought that was awesome.
Now it's like, I'm 30, you're 30.
Let's be 30 together sometimes. And then it's, I'm 40, you're 40. I got to go home and take care of the kids. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
But if you're there to play Ingress, you have a reason to stay.
Yes, that's so true. That's really cool. I mean, that obviously Niantic has been onto something, right? These apps. I mean, I give Niantic a lot of credit for the fact that they can release these apps and years later they're still doing this.
They still do Ingress meetups at Google I/O.
Yeah, that's right. So
I see parents with their kids around the Bay Area still playing Pokemon Go. Like, it's
huge. I see people on subway stations. I see coworkers in meetings doing it. It's like it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I work at TWID. Yeah.
That helps. They shouldn't be doing it in my job, but they do.
Right. So a little different here, but I do see that as well. All right. Cool. Well, we have burned through the news. It's time for the arena. Let's burn through it. You're queuing up the fire thing, aren't you?
No.
Oh.
I almost played the goat one.
We forgive you. Ron might not forgive you, but
I might not.
Well, if he's going to be mad at me anyway, I should just play it.
Yeah, that's true. You've already dug your grave as far as that's concerned. So, twit.to/AAA poll 456 is where you hopefully went last week. Now, when I checked in on this earlier today to kind of get prepped, there was a tie between Hedgecam 2 and Discord, which kind of blew me away that there was a tie between those two. I just assumed the Discord was going to go off and destroy. Actually, all three were pretty close. So I put out a call on Twitter and I said, hey, there's a tie. I'm not telling you what the tie is. Just go vote if you haven't.
And there's still a tie.
No, there's not. Thankfully, it did change things. Discord is the winner with 38%. That was Team Guest. That was TK's app. Second place is Hedgecam. That was my app, 33%. And third place, Battery Guru, 28%. That was Ron's.
And with that coming in last, I'm holding on, Jason, but by a thread. 3 weeks in, Guests are in first place with 12 points. Flo is in 8 points. Flo is in second place with 8 points. I'm in third place with 7 points, one behind Flo. And Jason is in last with 5 points, catching up. And that's where we are. And this week with no guest, it really, anything can happen. Flo could take back that first spot position if she comes out a winner. So
that's right. Flo, you've got to bank some wins here.
I know.
You got to bank them up. You got to go on a run now. That's your responsibility. All right, Ron. So I guess of the two of us, I came out ahead. So you go first.
I go first, which is fine. So
wait, don't I go first because I wasn't here last week?
Oh
no, you go second because you weren't in the rut, so you get the fair spot in the middle.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
These are all printed on page 37 of Arena Guidelines.
Seriously, I mean, we went over this in orientation, Flo. I mean,
I know, guys, but it's been 4 years since I've done orientation.
We need to do a refresher.
There's always time for a refresher.
Yeah, there's a 2-hour video that we have to sit through, and then we have to answer questions.
Oh, compliance. Okay. So basically, I do a lot of tools for your phone and productivity apps and stuff like that. But every now and then, we like to have fun. And how better to have fun than a classic game that we've all already spent hours playing in a new way to play on your Android phone? It's your favorite game and mine, Tetris. It's back. So this is the latest iteration of Tetris on Android, and as Jason's showing you there, if you're watching the video, it is classic Tetris. You only need one finger to actually use it. You tap on the screen to rotate the block, and you drag down to move it down. Jason, I found that if you drag down underneath the board, it goes faster. So go see, you get a little more speed that way.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so if you've never heard of Tetris, it's the Russian puzzle game that burst on the scene in 1987, thanks to Spectrum Holobyte on the PC platform, and then it rose to even more fame when Nintendo licensed it in the 90s. And actually, if you remember that, like I do, and maybe Flo does as well, Jason, if you hit pause and then go back, hit the right button to go back to the main menu there, and up in the upper right-hand corner next to the settings button, there's a paintbrush. You can choose the interface you want to play with, and there's a bunch of different versions, and there is an 8-bit version, which both looks and sounds like your classic Nintendo Game Boy version of Tetris. And it is in monochrome, and it's got the little Russian things, and it does the beeps and the bloops, and it is a lot of fun. So Tetris, it's free in the Google Play Store, and there are $4.99 in-app purchases, although I didn't stumble upon what the in-app purchases were as of yet when I was playing it briefly on the subway earlier today. But yeah, you love Tetris. How can Tetris not win? I ask you, my friends, when you vote for a classic game that's won numerous times the best game of the year. So
it is one of the most popular video games of all time, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't know what Tetris is?
Are you playing this in meetings while everybody else is playing Pokemon Go, Ron?
Yes. No, absolutely not.
Because they are watching, Victor. They are watching this show. All All right, cool. So that's let's see here. Neon Future, Shooting Stars.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other little, kind of different, depending on what your choice of look and feel is. The one in the upper left, I think, would resonate very well with Flo because it's a very Nintendo-esque style. It looks a little like Super Mario Brothers, Pokemon World, kind of, right?
Super
it's a big
Nintendo
mouth
quality to it.
Yeah. So it's Tetris, classic Tetris with a couple of different skins. And listen, it's simple. It just works. There's no bells and whistles. There's no power-ups. There's no anything. All you need is one finger and rotate the puzzle pieces and try to eliminate as many lines as possible.
Poof.
It's Tetris.
Poof.
It's a classic. So.
Right on.
So
Excellent.
I will say that when Tetris came out, the company that put it out in the PC, Spectrum Holobyte, also had a game called Sokoban, which was basically you were in a factory and you moved boxes around and you had to move them. It was basically like moving tiles. Love that game so much. It was in, remember the cyan, magenta, EGA color palette?
Yes.
It was in that color palette.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I bet you could find that on a browser that you can play in the browser. Like they have Java. They have abandonware places that you can go for all that stuff and play it in your browser. And you'll think you'll spend a lot of time playing it.
And you don't.
You play it for maybe 2 minutes and you're like, all right, I'm done.
Also, I would like to qualify that both Jason and I are old.
Yes.
So, yeah, there you go.
That's it. Thank you for that qualification because it's true.
Yeah.
All right, Flo, what you got?
So I have not been too... I don't want to say not too satisfied, but I've been a little let down by my Google feed that exists on my Pixel launcher. When you swipe all the way over to the left.
Yep.
Before I go to bed at night or when I'm just winding down for the evening, I like to kind of go in and, read. But the problem is even when I'm curating it, because I search the internet all day for random things, then I'll go in there and it'll be here's a random, I don't like it. So I was looking for an app that could get me more readability, more kind of help me find more articles. We don't have RSS the way that we used to. And so I found this app called Refind. And now what Refind does is when you sign up for it, so what Jason's doing on screen for those watching the visual feed, he is selecting different kinds of interests that he has and things to read about. So he's interested in media. He's interested in the Internet of Things. He's interested in gaming. I know I know you did a whole show about gaming. And now the app Refind is going to ask Jason to choose people that he would like to follow. So you could choose journalists. You can choose influencers, as we were talking about. You could choose publications. You could choose people, just people that you find interesting and follow. Anil Dash is on there. The nice thing is that when you do choose people and publications that you're interested in, if you decide to opt into the notifications, you will get little push notifications that go hey, Anil Dash really liked this article. I'm usually reading whatever he's posting on Twitter. So now I have an app that's kind of telling me, hey, this article is interesting to this person. Maybe I should check it out. So, all right, you set up your things. It's picking its links for you now. I'm laughing because the first story in the visual feed is which tech company is really the most evil. Okay, so let's say Jason's really interested in this. He has a couple options. He can read it. So it'll take him to Slate, where this was originally posted. Or he can tap on that little bookmark icon in the top there.
Oh, sorry. Bookmark. Okay.
Yeah, and that's going to add it to a reading list. Or if he has his own categories of reading lists that he made, he would go tap on the plus sign.
Oh.
Wait, jumping ahead. He would go tap on the plus sign, and then he would add it to a specific reading list that he made. Maybe you have a private reading list. Maybe whatever, you have a collection of things. Okay, you don't, so exit out of that one. Maybe he wants to listen to it, so he would hit the little audio icon, and then listen. It's not produced.
Oh, what just happened there?
I don't like that happened because that makes me look bad. But it works on my Pixel 3 fine. So what it does is it will use...
I think it's finding something on the page that it must be finding something on the page.
So what it does is it reads the article to you, but it uses the like onboard reading, AI bot thingy. So it sounds very computerized. It's not fluid like a well-produced piece of audio, but... maybe you want to put it on in the background while you're doing the dishes or something. Just like get the gist of something.
Here, I'll hold this up to the mic. It's playing one of them.
Russia is now a minor player, and the race seems now to be mainly between the United States and China. But don't count out the European Union just yet.
So they're different voices because the other article had a different voice. So
it's better than nothing. And then that other little mode that you had got into... excuse me, is kind of like a dark mode of sorts. So when you're in Chrome, and if you have enabled this, there's a thing called simplified mode, and it makes it so that it just simplifies it to just the text. And so if you want to just like jump in and read the text without going to the website, so you would go back or click on the little paragraph icon. Oh, maybe it's because of the way the article is written.
So let's see here. We'll go to the AI one. Okay, there we go.
So and then you would just get this nice, like, easy to read, and it will save your scrolling position. So if you want to go back to it, and let's say you're on transit or whatever, and at the bottom of the page when you're on, so go back to that simplified reading mode, and at the bottom of the page you'll see a little A, and that's going to let you set the font. It lets you choose if you want to see text and images or just text only. So you have a little bit of you have some options on how you want to do this. Now if you're reading this and you're like, what is going on, hit that little down arrow next to the A, and you can kind of let the algorithm know what's going on with this article. So maybe you want it to look for something else. Maybe it's in a language you don't understand. Maybe it's behind a paywall. You're like, listen, I don't have a subscription to this. Maybe it's offensive or spammy, or you can even report it as fake news. You have all those options there. And the nice thing is from the main menu. So if you go back to the main menu, and you just scroll all the way back up to the top, Jason, and just kind of, my UI, I think, looks a little different than yours because I've been using the app for a little bit. But at the top, you'll usually see these little like circles, and they look like Instagram story circles. So you can see like who's updated recently. So it'll show you like the publications or the people that you're following. This is just your picks of the day. So this is the 10 stories that Refind has picked for you based on your category. And it does this every day. It serves you 10 different stories. You go through, you select what you like, you save ones that you're interested in. If you're not interested in something, let's say you're not interested in, I don't know, that story. Then you'd click on the little down arrow above the menu items. And you could either explore similar, or if you didn't like it,
oh, you know what? I think there's the good pick, yes or no.
Yes. That's so you can decide. You kind of teach the algorithm the same way that you would in the Google feed, and then you would tell it like, it's this publication I don't want you to show me. It's this author I don't want to see. It's the subject matter I don't care about. It does take a little bit of curation, but I like it because I need to take in a lot of information daily. I want to stay up on what's going on in our industries. I now read a lot of parenting articles because of life. And this is just, I like to read the internet. So this is just a great way to kind of get this stuff curated for yourself without having to rely solely on Google. And again, this has really great reviews in the Play Store, 4.8 out of 5 right now. They have customer service help. So if there's something you don't like about the content, you can contact a person. You have a profile that you can like add people to. I haven't done any of the social elements yet because I just haven't gotten that far. You can search for articles, maybe you want to search for what's going on. So it's just a nice, it's just an easy way to fish for stories, I guess you could say.
Interesting. This is called Refind. Oh, there you go. Now I'm seeing the thing that you were talking about up at the top.
Okay. Oh yeah. See, it looks like Instagram stories where you can you can click on a person and then it'll show you like what they were. So click on a Neil Dash and you can see like what he posted that day and what he's interested in.
Right.
What he read, and then you could be like, this is an interesting thing. This person I find influential.
I find this influencer is influencing me. I've been influenced. Excellent stuff. It is called Refind. It was on my list, so you took one of my picks, but I'm happy.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah. Good pick. Refind. All right, but I didn't need that one. That's right. I didn't need that one because I've got a different app, and I'm just going to let it kind of speak for itself. My review is embedded in this app that's called Prompt Smart Pro. Here, I'll go ahead and launch it. Maybe later. Okay. I'm just going to go into this little doc up here. You may see it. It says Prompt Smart Pro Arena Review. Got a little thing here. I'm going to hit play, and you'll see what this does here. We'll let it load. Let it load up.
Let it load.
Hey,
Let it load. Sorry.
No, that's funny. I had the free trial. All I did was cancel the re-up, and instead it canceled the free trial. So that's weird. It does have a 7-day free trial, so I'm just signing up for that. Let's see here, 7-day free trial, $2.99 a month, $29.99 a year for the Pro. You'll see in a second why it's actually worth that. And once I go through this fun thing, no. Okay. All right. So here's what I intended to do. Here's the block of text. I hit play and I look at it and check this out. Today in the arena, I'm showcasing an app called Prompt Smart Pro. If you've ever had the need for a teleprompter, you know how difficult it can be to control or coordinate someone to control it for you. We do this every week for parts of Tech News Weekly. Prompt Smart Pro utilizes voice recognition to detect where in the script I am reading from, and it keeps the appropriate words on the screen as I read through them. I don't have to touch a thing. The words just scroll on by, following my speed. I'm going to wait. See, it stopped. So I'm not rushed along the way. Pretty neat, huh? I have to thank Tom Bailey on Twitter for the heads up on this app. So, obviously not an app that everyone benefits from necessarily because there are a lot of people in this world that have no need for a teleprompter app. But I'm telling you, this is actually really cool because
hey, if you're trying to be an influencer on Byte, this could be useful.
Totally.
Also, this could put Burke out of a job.
Well, yeah, Burke's got a lot of other jobs here. So
seems like he's worried about his job safety right now.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I see in the Twitter. He sure is.
Burke
He sure is. So, yeah, pretty neat. Burke, we can replace you for $2.99 a month.
Oh, jeez.
Just kidding. Burke has so many other jobs here.
He's irreplaceable.
So it's actually very cool. And again, thanks to Tom Bailey, who tweeted me on Twitter and said, I think maybe you need to bring this into the arena. And when I started playing around with it, I've done a lot of prompter work here at Twit. And, it can be a challenge. If you're controlling it by yourself, you kind of have to be able to read while you're moving something on a screen. That can be a little distracting. You get used to it with practice, or you bring in someone else like Burke, who will no longer have to do prompter for anyone ever again. We'll just find other things for Burke to do.
Can you cast it to a bigger screen?
Well, I don't know if it's casting to a screen, but they do have the ability. Well, I imagine you could. I mean, why couldn't I? I would just set it through Cast in the system, and I'm sure it would do it, Screencast. I don't think that it's embedded in the app. You probably would get just a tiny bit of lag if you do that, I would guess. But possibly not enough lag for it to really throw things off, because if you go in, you can go into the settings and really tweak how fast things are moving, how fluid it is, that sort of stuff. So I can show you. This is the scripts page. You can copy script files into there, import a script, or just, cut and paste, that sort of thing, which is what I did to create this. But they have a few others that are, longer, and you can kind of use them to get a sense of how it works. But you aren't controlling anything with your hands. It's moving the text on the screen because it's detecting the words that you're saying in real time. And so, there isn't another person that's trying to ramp their speed along with yours, and maybe they overshoot it, or maybe they forget to move it. Whatever stuff happens in the world of teleprompter, this thing just kind of keeps up with you as long as you're sticking to the script. And even if you go off script, it stays paused there until you come back, and then it's like, oh, okay, there you are. Continue on. Note cards is more like something that you can do for like a presentation, that sort of thing. So you could create all of your virtual note cards on here. You could even order them around and put them in different places to kind of set up your presentation. So that's useful. And then you can also set it up so that anytime that you're doing these reads, it automatically records the audio and slips it into this recordings area. Obviously, if you have like a different microphone, you can connect it to your phone, so the quality would be better than just through your phone, but maybe it's good enough for you. But yeah, and like I said, there are a ton of settings. You can go in there and change exactly how the text looks on the screen, the size of the font, that sort of stuff. You can mirror, so sometimes mirroring is necessary because of different teleprompter screens. It has to be a mirror image in order for the actual mirror that's reflecting the image up to read the way that someone is used to. You could put a timer on there so that while the prompter is being moved through, there's an active timer up in the corner telling you how long you're going on. That can be super useful. It's just a really useful app for this particular thing, which, like I said, I realize is not something that everybody has a use for. But I've wanted an app like this before, and so I'm really happy that Tom pointed me in the direction of it, because it has all the bells and whistles that I think an app like this would need. And I was kind of a little skeptical that the voice matching would work as well as it did, but it hasn't. Any of the times that I played around with it, it hasn't failed me yet. So pretty cool stuff. So Prompt Smart Pro is the name of the app. Does have a 7-day free trial, and then I believe it's $2.99 a month or $29.99 per year for the Pro subscription. There's an extended subscription that's $3.99 a month, $34.99 per year. I think that includes like some desktop functionality on your PC or your Mac, and other features. There's kind of a feature comparison on the site, so you should definitely go and check it out. But the technology is really cool. It's called Prompt Smart Pro, and
I will say more people than ever need this kind of app because of the world that we're, like the influencer world and content creator world and all that sort of stuff. Like now is the time for this sort of app to actually have a lot of users.
Yeah, totally. I think this would be very useful for a lot of creators online for sure. Especially because creators are doing it all on their own a lot of the times anyways. You know what I mean? Like they're a one-person show. And so something like this where that literally makes it easier than them holding a phone outside of the screen of the camera and, like right up next to the lens and scrolling with their finger, like just mount the camera and go. So
I've tried setting up a tablet for teleprompter, and Android has not had any good teleprompter apps. Yeah. I like this one because it follows your voice.
Yes, totally.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm. It is pretty sweet. So Prompt Smart Pro. All right. So the place that you can go to place your vote for your favorite app this week is Twit.
The places you can go.
The places you will go. Twit.to/AAA poll 457. Twit.to/AAA poll 457. Place your vote for your favorite app, and Victor is swirling, he's circling, and Prompt Smart Pro gets the vote. That's one vote of many.
You know how much shorter commercial shoots I would have had in the past if I would have had that?
Yeah.
In a former life.
In a former life. At a different time. Burke, you're not going anywhere, bud. Neither is Jeff. Jeff does the prompter on Tech News Weekly a lot of the times. You aren't going anywhere. Don't worry about it. Cool. So twit.to/AAA poll 457. And that is that. This week's episode is in the can. Flo, I see a couple of links here. What's going on?
Well, I don't have like any work to really show off except the podcast that I do. I mean, that's work, but you know, already. I just wanted to show off my new keyboard.
I saw it on Instagram.
So this is my new keyboard. It's the same keyboard base, but I put new keycaps on. They're DSA keycaps, so they're a little shorter, sort of easier on the fingers. And this is the Magic Girl DSA keycap set from the Key Company, so the Key.company, and they're selling it if anybody's interested. And I wanted to also show Ron because in the next little link.
Oh, I saw. Very cool.
Yeah, so I had Ron. I forget, Ron, what show you were at, but I had texted you. I was like, please.
New York Comic Con.
So this person named at Tiny Makes Things on Twitter and on Instagram, they make these little like keycaps. These are custom, and this is Corby. So there's like, it comes in different, colors, and I really wanted this, and so I asked Ron to get this for me, and he sent it to me from New York. So thank you, Ron. This is where it now lives. This is my escape key. So I just wanted to,
awesome.
show Ron I did something with the.
Now, okay, so the keyboard looks cool, but how does it type?
Oh, it types great. It's way more comfortable than like the cheapo. I had Amazon keys on before because I was just getting into the hobby and I didn't want to like drop all the money. Now this key set I bought before I got pregnant. So that's how long ago I've been waiting. I've been waiting for this key set to come in.
Wow.
So I was I was very excited for this to come.
Were you left with any extra keys that didn't make it onto the keyboard?
Very few. And it's just because I bought almost precisely for the keyboard that I have.
Oh, I see. You buy per key, essentially, right?
I bought what I knew I would need. But the thing is, I have 3 boxes of other keycaps I've purchased.
Oh, wow.
Again, this is all before I decided to have a child. So
you figured you had a lot of time on your hands.
Yeah, I was like, a new hobby I'm going to get into. I'm just going to spend all the money. And now I was like,
oh, what do I do with all these keys?
But I just wanted to show off my new key set because it's so comfy. And I've been typing you guys in the chat room with it. So.
Oh, okay. So it's not a clicky keyboard. Not a super clicky keyboard. We haven't heard it.
You can't hear it? That's good. That means my mic isn't picking it up. That's good.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not hearing it. Right on. I love your keyboard.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me do show and tell.
Of course. Ron, what about you? What do you have to show?
I don't have anything to show yet, but I will soon. If you go to twitter.com/RonXO and Instagram.com/RonXO, you can follow me and watch me catalog the Christmas trees of New York City that are still being put out on the curb.
I love that you're so fascinated by that.
I am. I mean, it's been a tough year because this is the year that it really went mainstream because I've gotten a lot of submissions from other people as they find Christmas trees in their neighborhood, and that's not really the kind of content I'm looking to do. So I kind of pumped the brakes a little. But this morning when I was walking the babies, I saw another tree, and I'm like, it's more than a month since Christmas. I got to do this again. But we'll see how it goes. But that's always fun. But as you know, I'm also working on a little side project called Scorebit that you can go to scorebit.io where we're connecting pinball machines to the internet. And we have stuff coming soon. But Jay said, I wanted to highlight, one of the things we've said over the years that hardware is hard.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really hard.
You're living
Let me tell you something. At some point after we're shipping and launched, we could probably dedicate a whole segment where I can tell you about what it's like to launch a hardware startup.
That would be amazing, Ron. Let's definitely do that.
It has been literally like the every morning in the shower, I'm running through lists of stuff we have to do. And it's this like ever expanding universe of stuff that you take for granted. When you get a piece of hardware, you expect that there'll be a knowledge base and support. And you suspect that you'll have, if you're doing a subscription service, that you have some way to, upsell and change your service and cancel it. And how do you get that system working with your shopping cart and like all this sort of stuff. So it's really fascinating and learning a lot, and just cross your fingers for us because we're doing our best. So we'll see what happens.
So it's all going to work out, but I believe you, man. Hardware, I don't know how you're able to juggle all that and make it happen. Immense amount of respect for you.
Hey, Ron, just so you know, related, I found a hip hop venue that also is a pinball
Cool.
like playground of sorts near where I live.
What is it called?
I will tell you offline, just so I don't.
Okay,
Yes.
fair enough. I think I know the one you're talking about, though. But yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
Good spot.
I'll send you the Instagram link.
There you go. Cool.
And maybe someday you'll both find yourself there at the same time without knowing
And we
that
will
the other is there.
ignore each other. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
We can only hope that happens again. But that's a once-in-a-lifetime sort of thing, I think. Victor, thank you. Even though your fingers were a little slow on your bumpers today, but that's okay.
Well, to add to my ever-expanding list, I guess I got to be more prepared for breaking news.
And less prepared for Mateo's birthday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Seriously.
Now,
thank
what is
you.
Mateo gonna do for our birthday?
Yeah, totally. Mateo's head is like this big at this point. He's like, they talk about me when I'm not there.
You want to talk about ego? You think Jason's ego is bad? Wait till Mateo, man. He can barely fit that head through the door.
Shut up, Ron. Don't compare me to Mateo. All right. That's it for this week. Yeah, take that, Ron.
Not cool, man.
Take the happy birthday,
Giggle
Mateo
every time.
graphic.
You see, the thing is that it's all funny as long as it doesn't get in the way of the show. And I don't know, breaking news is like a pretty important part of the show when it happens. And it's been happening less and less as time goes. We rarely get breaking news. And so when we had it, were we ready for it? No, because we were making a joke about Mateo. Victor, I got your number.
Yeah,
Love you, Victor.
I know he's gonna appreciate this. He's gonna feel really special for him.
he is indeed. He will feel special even if Ron doesn't. Find me on Tech News Weekly this week and every week. I do that show. Twit audience survey is happening right now. You probably heard about it already, but twit.to/survey20 is where you can go to let us know what you think about what we're doing here at Twit. We do this once every year for a couple of weeks to just kind of gather information from you, our listeners and viewers, on the things we're doing well, the things we could improve upon, maybe even new show ideas, really any ideas that you have. We really appreciate your feedback. It helps it helps improve us and keep us on our toes and, keep us moving forward. So we appreciate your continued support in that. But that
And
is
then
it
in the comments, right? I really love Florence Ion.
Yeah, make sure and put that in there. And Victor and Jason.
But especially Flo.
And
Especially.
definitely no other name other than those three. Okay. Just kidding. Put Ron in there too, please. That's it for this week. This podcast publishes every Tuesday evening. Victor will be hard at work and publish it just a couple of hours from now. It'll go up live. You go to twit.tv/AAA. That is our show place on the web where you can subscribe to the show in all different ways. You even have a link to YouTube if YouTube's your thing. We don't have a link to Byte yet, but none of our shows are 6 seconds, so it doesn't matter. And you can follow Twit.
Can you string them together in a series of 6 segments?
Oh God, that's brutal. But but that
I feel like
almost
that's
brilliant.
I feel like that's something an old boss of mine would have asked to do at another job.
Totally. We've got to.
I won't say who, but it definitely. Anyway,
I think I know. I think I know. But that is it for this week's episode of All About Android. It's been a lot of fun, and we will see you next time on All About Android. Bye, everybody. Have a great week.